I really believe that New York State has made great progress and strides in that. The NAR has created standard 10-5, which is phenomenal. So what you post and what you do and what you say on your social media platforms certainly does have a bearing on who you are and what you communicate as a professional.
Welcome back to the Foxworth Theory. I'm your host, Eugenia Foxworth, with part 2 of our chat with real estate executive Anthony Domathoti. Now, welcome back. And I have a few questions that I have been waiting for you to answer because this is quite a conversation, and it's an important conversation to everyone. You have said real estate transactions go beyond the transition of ownership. In fact, it is the very foundation of our economy. Please share the ways you see the ripple effect of real estate transactions in both low income and high income areas.
Thank you, Eugenia. Thank you for welcoming back. Homeownership is something that creates, to start with, I use the term stability. It builds stability around a family or a group of individuals living together. The constituents of a transaction are always going to be subject to something that is tremendous because they have consistency in their life. Stability and consistency is something that comes with homeownership. But not only that, generational wealth, building generational wealth is the most intimate byproduct of homeownership. And it's vital both in the suburbs and in the city or anywhere else in the United States or in the world to promote homeownership, because that's the cornerstone of consistency and stability. And I find homeownership to be in the fruit of homeownership is generational wealth. The fruit of generational wealth is generational success and growth. And that's what it comes down to. I grew up in a one-bedroom apartment in Flushing for years before my parents moved out onto the island and they bought a home. Things changed, started going to different schools. I started doing different things. My circle has changed, and my school changed, my college changed, my church changed. And with that came another page in my life, another chapter in my life. Everybody needs another page in their life. Everybody needs another chapter in their life. And I think that comes with home ownership. With home ownership, it's not only generational wealth and success, but also it creates opportunities for other areas in that community to grow. Because of that person being planted in there, they will influence the community in some way, whether be it in a store, be it in a library, be it in a YMCA, or could be now working for a nonprofit or volunteering for someone else. These byproducts are intense because there is no metric to measure the success of that. So if you backtrack, homeownership is the cornerstone, number one. creates stability and consistency, has a ripple effect in the community with multiple sectors getting advantage, multiple sectors benefiting from home ownership. I call them the dirty dozen, and the dirty dozen that help me in making a transaction. It also keeps the jobs in the market, number one. It helps the economy, number two. So all in all, there is research out there, Eugenia, that talks about kids growing up in a home which their parents own seem to have better academic scores than those who don't. That is baffling because, in New York City, almost 70% are rentals. And I look at our data that comes out with the Department of Education, and we look at the number of schools that are at default, and we look at the number of schools that are not magnet schools. And I think about it and I say, what is it that has created this chasm in academic achievement, in student growth? Because that is where the future is. The future is our kids. The future is in our youth. So that's where we need to invest. So in a roundabout way, I would dare to venture out and say, to tell anybody who's listening to this, if you're thinking about buying, buy it right away. And if you have kids with you, do not even think about it. Do everything possible to become a homeowner. Because I don't have a metric to talk about how your local library is going to help you intellectually. But I can tell you this, a kid who goes to a library and goes to a YMCA and swims at the local pool and plays at the local park is bound to become a fixture for that community. So let's invest in them right now. The investment that we make in our youth and children by providing a good shelter, good education, and a good community will go a long way, because this America is our America. This New York is our New York, and we have to bring it front and center to the children, to the youth, and the younger generation that will become the future citizens of this country. So let's invest in them. Let's start with home ownership. That would be my passionate plea for that.
I do appreciate this and what you're saying. And I didn't tell the audience that we're going to put you on the list to run for mayor.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
But you are known for helping to expand access to home ownership and for supporting fair housing. What are some primary issues we need to think about today in regards to access to ownership and fair housing? You've answered some things, but
right. Great question, Eugenia. I personally think that our current pathways to home ownership is something that is three-pronged. Number one, there has to be an alternate pathway for credit scoring. Right now, the credit scoring protocol that we have in the Fair Isaac system, the FICOs, are pretty antique. They're antiquated because 70% of anyone's disposable income in a city like ours goes towards rental, paying the rent, and for food and shelter. Those need to be taken into consideration for a credit scoring system, especially when it comes to non-white communities. There is a certain challenge when it comes to the amount of disposable income they have. And maybe this is happening with any generation that's out there, with any race that's out there. That's not the point. The point is, how do we create an alternate path and score credit so that people can get a better mortgage and interest rates? I think that's important. As what's happening in the market right now, the fear of going into a transaction, the trepidation that they have, is something that we can alleviate or eliminate by providing an alternate scoring system, number one. Number two, there has to be a first-time home buyer down payment assistance program that is consistently that's out there. I know we have an FHA, which is a government-backed loan. I understand, but there need to be other products as well where we provide assistance to first-time home buyers. And the threshold for that The hard deck needs to be lowered. Right now, it's a bit too high. I do understand the relationship between creditworthiness and the ability to borrow money and to purchase a home and maintain payments over a period of time. All of those three things are linked. But at the same time, if we can come up with a credit scoring system, and provide them homeowner a down payment assistance on the second thing. And number three, a tax cap. A tax cap is important. People talk about state and local taxes. I've talked to several politicians, both on the island and in the city and in the boroughs. And they all say, yes, we need a state and local tax repeal. We haven't done anything about that for so far. And we talk about that again and again and again. So these are the three things that are going to drive homeownership to a goal will become a reality. But on the other hand, I feel that we need to vote people into power, lawmakers who support real estate, who support homeownership, who support alternate credit scoring platforms, who support first-time home buyer grants and access. We need to put those people into power. And again, putting someone into I don't want to talk Republicans or Democrats. I don't want to talk about the GOP or the DSA. I don't want to talk about that. What I want to talk about is who are our lawmakers that we are giving them the keys to the government, and how can we influence them? This pin, as you asked me, this is a Realtor Political Action Committee pin, our PAC. Yes, and this is my 2022 President Circle Platinum pin, and I push for policy reform. I push for positive laws that support real estate, and I think it's important. So I think moving on to fair housing, there is no place for discrimination in housing. There has been tremendous amount of discrimination. The Long Island expose in 2020 really should have been done a lot earlier. And I am so thankful for Hudson Gateway and for NAR and for New York State Association to recognize that fair housing is an integral part of what we do. And also to make sure that we are fully connected with what's happening in the world, but not just watching TV, but also learning from one another, which brings about the issue of the DEI. So fair housing and DEI are two different concepts, but they do have a similar strand and a similar DNA, but a different product. I think from a fair housing standpoint, discrimination is a no, no, no. Let's treat everyone fairly, equally, and honestly. But also on the other hand, Eugenia, I believe that no matter how much training you have, how many certifications you have, one must be truly reformed in their heart and their mind. And let's not talk about tolerance. Let's talk about accepting people the way they are. And I think that's what it comes down to. You know, when we start putting people in boxes and parentheses in conversations, and we use codes and we talk about different slurs, all of those are tremendously damaging to our community. So on the fair housing side of it, we are pushing for a fair housing challenge. We are pushing everyone to truly do a at home with diversity course as a plus, go to the Fair Haven Simulation Project, do the unconscious bias training. Consciously or unconsciously, we are biased in our own way. So it's important for us to recognize that. You know, not all Indians are Uber drivers. You know, not all Indians do DoorDash. Not all Indians own a 7-Eleven. Not all Russians drink vodka. I can go on and on and on and on. So I think that unconscious bias needs to be addressed from a heart standpoint, not a mind standpoint. And coming into DEI, I personally believe that it's not about who is around the table. It is about who is around the table and what do they contribute to the conversation. That's more important. Having 10 different looking people, 10 different colors, 10 different shades around the table is great. However, if the thought product is not meaningful, then there is no point in having that discussion at the table. So diversity should be across the border, not just in appearance, but in thought as well. Inclusivity should be for everyone. Everyone has a chair at the table. Every voice is heard. Every person is counted. Every opinion is included. I think that's tremendously important. So from a fair housing standpoint and from a DEI standpoint, I really believe that New York State has made great progress and strides in that. The NAR has created standard 10-5, which is phenomenal. So what you post and what you do and what you say on your social media platforms certainly does have a bearing on who you are and what you communicate as a professional. So the intensity of this dialogue, I hope, continues on. I hope it doesn't fizzle away, because at the end of the day, we are only as good as we continue to learn and grow and implement and repeat that cycle all over again. So I hope this is an ongoing discussion forever. Hello, everyone. My name is Anthony Domathoti, broker owner, Exit Realty Premium, Morris Park, Bronx. I'm here with the fabulous Imran Bhuiya, one of our best agents, and we are in front of 2424 Barnes Avenue.
It's a fully renovated two-family house. Ground floor has a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment. Second floor has a 3-bedroom duplex with 2.5 bathrooms. Everything is brand new. The plumbing, electric, furnace, you name it. So don't miss it. Let's take a tour.
I want to thank our guest so much, Anthony Domathoti, the president of the Hudson Gateway Association of Realtors, and you, the viewers, for joining us today on the Foxworth Theory, which airs Tuesday and Thursdays at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm Eugenia Foxworth. Thank you for watching. Stay safe. Hi, this is Eugenia Foxworth. Thank you so much for tuning into the Foxworth Theory. We are celebrating going into our 3rd season. Can you believe that? We are opening our doors to sponsorships for the Foxworth Theory. For more information, go to thefoxworththeory.com or email us at pr@thefoxworththeory.com. Thank you.